When Keep Yourself Alive came out, I happened to be a bit of a freak on phasing, and that was the first thing that I picked up from that. Was that your own idea to do all that stuff?
Oh yes, yeah. We just about do all our own production. We have Roy Baker, who sort of co-produces with us, and all the 4 albums have been a co-production with him.
Do you feel that Night at the Opera is perhaps you've reached a climax at a certain stage in your career? Because I believe it's definitely the best that you've ever done.
Thanks.
Yes.
I think it's possibly the peak so far because it's the most successful. But I mean, we hope we're going to get better.
We get a different peak. It is going to be difficult, especially with Bohemian Rhapsody being as large.
Well, a kid wrote me a letter about that and said, I study demonology and satanic things. Why do they use Beelzebub? And I suppose that's a legitimate question.
Why do we use it?
Yeah.
It's just why do we use anything? I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean I study demonology and things. I just love the word Beelzebub. I mean, it's a great word, isn't it?
Very camp word when you look at it. Actually, the letter was signed with a cloven hoof at the time. What is that?
The same sect. I belong to that.
Are you sticking pins in effigies?
The next single that's coming off Night at the Opera is You're My Best Friend, I understand. And already we're getting a lot of requests for that. But it's entirely different in structure to Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's what makes the album attractive to me. Is that
This
right?
is John's song.
Yeah.
John wrote.
Yes, because I mean that's probably one thing in the group that we all do right, which lends to the variety of our albums. It's a very good thing, I think.
There have been several songs on your albums that have been involved with death and all this sort of stuff. Is that just an accidental thing, or?
That's Freddie's morbid mind.
One of my docile moods, actually. Yeah.
There's a thing that everybody, I suppose, is going to be wondering about, the campness of the act. That was one of the things I read in the pop press in England, that the act was a little bit camp and all this stuff.
It's not really camp, It's rock and roll, and it's very visual as well. There's a lot of rock and roll music there. And
I think it's the same as the variety content that we have on the album. We try and put that across on stage. So I mean, each song that we do has a different sort of meaning to it. So I mean, it is rock and roll as a sort of label, but within that, I mean, each song has a different.
Would you say it was rock and roll with theatre?
Yes, you could call it that. I mean, it's very difficult to label because each song is in a different sort of category, really. I mean, from the 1920s vaudeville to the heavy, the real sort of raw rock and roll, to the ballad, to.
This perhaps would the theatrical aspect may explain your gigantic statue in Japan. They're very theatrical sort of people.
Now you're talking.
I think that's very astute. I think it does
something to
a
do
great
with it,
extent explain a lot of.
I understand that in Japan that you couldn't even leave your hotels. That's the
It was
immense
very difficult.
popularity.
Yeah.
Very
It was this time round. It was we had to have bodyguards all around. And,
You did
it
see
got
the kitchens, though.
in fact, yes, and we were sort of reduced to travelling in laundry lifts and things like that. But the price of fame, they tell me.
But this must become tremendously confining after a little while.
It was very claustrophobic.
Oh,
it was nice. Roger and I managed to get away a couple of days early to over here in Perth, and nobody knew we were here. And we just went out on the beach and couldn't believe that it was quiet and peace. And had a good time.
What is your next? I'm sorry.
And hot and sunny.
Very nice, yeah.
What is your next album?
Well, it's already completed. No, we haven't even started thinking about it, to be honest. We've just been very busy touring, and after we finish with Australia, we go back and have a rest and then think about it. We've got a plan. We've got to write it yet. Think about it.
Have you found that the world tour, which has been pretty extensive, has given you any ideas to bounce off into new songs and new ideas for structuring songs?
We always get some ideas from being on tour, yeah.
We get some ideas, but it's very difficult to actually write and sort of write songs and get them constructed. It's ideas, yes, but to actually write on the road. I know a lot of people can do that, write on the road while they're touring, but I don't think we have.
We don't
yet.
We don't bang them together.
It takes a while.
Hotel rooms. We do sort of gather influences and lots of experiences on the road. They're very useful when you come to write them after being on the road.
We take touring very seriously, really. You get completely consumed by the actual business of playing in theatres, because that's really most of what it's about to us, So you tend not to get involved in writing songs so much as thinking about getting across to the audience that you're playing to.
Back to pop journalism, I suppose, but pop and rock and roll seems to be they get too involved with themselves. Now, Rolling Stone magazine in America and New Musical Express in England.
Absolutely.
Do you find that they become very condescending
Very
after a
good
while?
choices, yes.
Yeah?
We don't take any of them very seriously, actually.
Yeah.
Having seen them go from the absolute bottom to the absolute top as regards what they think of us, and back down again probably. We
You
just
know, Dad, it will go.
can't
that
really
way.
take it very seriously.
I mean, the
When you
whole
read-
idea of having a magazine that pretends to write seriously about politics and rock and roll at the same time, to me, is totally absurd.
yeah, New Musical Express is more into nail varnish than music.
Queen, I hope you have
dig at me.
I hope you have
No, no,
a very successful tour. I know it will be, and it's a sellout here in Perth and the rest of Australia. This is going over to Melbourne and Sydney. I know that you people have